Good evening. Um, we are going to have a discussion about Microsoft Excel formulas and functions. So you pay particular attention. I'll take you through some notes and then demonstrate. So let's start. Um, the other facilitators have talked about some of the aspects, and I'll tackle each and every aspect uh, as brief as possible. So we are going to present on the difference between formulas and functions, and paying attention on some of the functions, not all of them, the rank and the average, the count A, count if, count A, the A stands for all, and then we have the sum and the count itself, and then the max and then the mean. So starting with the introduction, formula versus function. So a formula is just like any mathematical statement, and formulas include an operation sign, a plus, a minus, a division sign, or a multiplication sign, which is represented in an asterisk form in Excel. Okay, and then function, you see a predefined term. For example, so a brief demonstration. Let me have some numbers here, maybe 23 and then 45. I can put these two numbers together using a formula and then a function. Using a formula is just equal and the cell reference J4 with my plus sign, and then the cell reference H4. Hit enter, I'll get the addition of it. I can also use a function. So using a function, I'll equal, then the function name. So here, because I'm adding up, I'll use the sum function. So sum, then I'll open, and then the same cell reference. You can use a comma or a column if it's a range of cells. Okay, you don't need operation sign here. And you close and you hit enter and you get the same answer. Let's move on. So we move on to the next slide. The next slide says something about rank and then average. So I have made a prepared Excel sheet that will explain the rank better. So I'll get back to that, and then the average. Here is it. I'll get back to it because of the rank and the position aspect. So let me skip the rank and then move on to the count, and then the count if also I'll get back to it. Let me talk about the sum. Just as I demonstrated the sum. So if you're having a couple of names, like let me have some names, Ato, Kofi, Ya, Ama, Abu. Let me put names on top, then put class score, then let me put exam score. Let me increase the column width to clean this one off. Okay, apply some formatting. Let me. So class score, let me assume some marks for them. So it's supposed to the biggest of it all is supposed to be 100, so it's 50-50. So let me make here 44. Then the exam score also 54, maybe 46, 41, 30. So using the count, now you could see that I can just count direct because the content are few. But if you're having a long list of numbers, it will become difficult to count by just looking at it. So using the function name count, I can just count the number of numbers, that is the scores on the screen, by just typing equal and then count. Then I'll select the range. So the range starting from this cell, that is Gen4, column, then the last cell here, that will be H8. Then I'll close, hit enter. The system will count. The system is going to count all the numbers here for me. Very simple. With a sum function, you can introduce a sum function to add, assuming we want to know the total marks of ATO, both exam score and class score. So we equal sum, you open, and then you add, then you close, hit enter. In order not to waste time and repeat, you can use a fill, click and drag, and then you get all. Don't forget, you can come to the formulas under the math and trick. You get a sum function here, of which you may decide to use this one or you type straight ahead. Okay, we have a lot of functions, a whole lot of functions, but we'll talk of some of them. We're going to talk about some of them, not all of them. Okay, so the other colleague has also have some intro about the sum function, of which we are going to paste on our blog. Yeah, so you follow the site. I'll try and share the link to our blog if nothing interrupts. So let's move forward. Now, let me demonstrate about the count A. You see the count here, assuming I increase the range. Let me increase the range, including where the names are. You see that it's still 10. So count is meant for numbers. Now, let me come down and then use the count A. And you see what will happen. So the count A, they use the same range starting from where the name is ending at the 64. You can just click and drag. You can also identify the cell reference of the first, the cell reference of the last, and you type direct. If I close, we see I'm getting different figure as compared to the first one. Oh, sorry, I added. Let me take away the totals. Yeah, okay. I added this. This is the total. Let me change the formatting of that section. Okay, so you could see that here the same range F4 is to H8. I'm getting 15. Here also the same range F4 is to H8. I'm getting 10. Because this the count, just count numbers and then the count A or count everything, the non-empty cells. Yeah, non-empty cells. Okay, so that is it. Let's get to the slides, and we're talking about sum and count. I've demonstrated. Let's talk about max and mean. The max and mean. So getting back to our sheet, as I said earlier, you can just look at it and identify the bigger number, but in order not to make a mistake, you can just use function to glance through this list or any other list of numbers to identify the bigger or the lesser number. So I can have, let me use this type equal mean. Mean means I'm going to target the least number. Then the range starting from here down, close the bracket, hit enter. So 64 becomes the least. Now the maximum number equal, all Excel formula and functions begins with an equal sign. So equal, you open, no, the max comes first, and then you open the bracket, and the first cell reference is I4. I'm typing straight ahead. Excel is case insensitive, so either capital letters or small letters, it will still work. Column, the last one is I8, then you close, hit enter, and this one will give the maximum number. This one gives the maximum number. Now I'm having some pre-prepared Excel sheets here. So I've used a lot of functions. You can see these names were not typed here direct. It was typed in a Word document. There's a function called a trim function. If in case someone types names for you and then the person, you see, abnormal spacing in between the words. So you can just get these numbers in Excel, then apply the trim function. So I got these, follow carefully. I got these names in Excel at this particular tab where they've been copied and pasted in the form of a link. Formula bar gives you the file, the path of the file or the source of the content. So you see it is just as it is. Then right, this is under column A. So under column B, you can see the names are there, and then I've applied the trim function. Okay, we are exploring because we are trying to know some of the Excel functions. We wouldn't limit ourselves to the count,